PlayStation exclusives. Sony rolls out the red carpet for them, and they make this big fanfare about them, how it's like the next big thing in gaming, and they treat them like a huge event. There was a time they didn't quite do this, but especially with later PlayStation 4 and now PlayStation 5, it's definitely like kind of this big deal when a PlayStation exclusive comes out. Although they didn't do this for Days Gone. For some odd reason, this game isn't really well liked by Sony, I guess. By the way, this is my review of Days Gone. Enjoy.
We have to look out for each other. It's all we got.
You could have saved a few lives.
There was no hope, there was no time, there was no room, okay? We'd already turned on each other by the time the Hordes arrived.
Hope you're right about your old lady, Deke. Gotta ask you something. What does it matter if everyone else is dead?
So, yeah, it's weird because, like, Days Gone actually made money when it came out. But Sony didn't greenlight a sequel, even though Ben's studio wanted to do a sequel. I've had some people try to tell me they never want to do a sequel, but there is evidence out there that they want to do a sequel. And so, I don't know why they keep stressing that, but moving on. And it just kind of perplexes me because on the surface, a lot of people did not like this game. But once you get into it, I actually really enjoyed this experience. From the story to the gameplay, although the gameplay didn't do a lot new, to the graphics, the locations, the side quests. Like, this is one of the few games I actually got a platinum trophy for, because I just enjoyed it so much. And like, one of the nice things that I was able to experience was I played this on the PlayStation 4 and then again on the PS5 with the Game Boost edition, which brought it up to 2160C resolution. I don't understand what that means. I found that quote online, and it runs it at a solid 60 frames per second. And yeah, this game does look nice running at 60 frames per second, no doubt. And I didn't notice a lot of hiccups. Now, a lot of people did complain about, like, problems with it slowing down and bugs and whatnot when it first came out on the PS4. That's understandable. But now, with all the patches and updates they've done, honestly, I didn't notice a whole bunch. Yes, there was a couple times when my character's leg clipped through the environment, and there's a few times where the bike wasn't acting correct or proper, but I wasn't noticing a lot of game crashes. Now, on my PS4, I did experience a game crash one time, but on my PS5, I didn't notice it at all. And so, honestly, the arguments about the graphics don't really hold up anymore, or the bugs don't really hold up anymore. Graphically, this is a very gorgeous game, and by gorgeous, like, the environments are just so beautiful. There's a couple of times it almost looks photorealistic, especially the way sun's hitting trees at midday as the sunbeams are coming down through the trees. Now, granted, I won't say this is a photorealistic game, but there's just sometimes where the elements, the weather, the rain, the snow, really make the screen pop. And at 4K, 60 frames per second, this is quite a looker. Facial animations are pretty good. There's a couple of times that voice acting isn't perfect, but when the scenes happen where it needs to count, it does. There's a couple of scenes with Deacon St. John. While a lot of people criticized Sam Widow's voice acting or character personality in this game, there's a couple of moments where, like, your inner self's like, you need to fight back that tear now. I mean, there's a couple of really good moments of, you know, character development in this game. One such moment I absolutely love is when he's, like, about to let this one character go, and he's like literally on the edge of letting his character go. It's really a good scene. Another thing I really enjoyed about this game was the music. There's some really nice music from some like indie, I don't want to call them country musicians, but there's kind of like this country music vibe with some of the songs that have played in this, but I wouldn't call them country or even country western. They're kind of like these weird, I don't know what genre you'd call this type of music, but I felt it fit the game quite well. And some of the tracks I did put on my phone because they were just really good musical tracks. Another thing that kind of was great about the graphics were the zombies, or the freakers as they call them. Every zombie game and movie now has to have a unique alternate name to make them different. You can't just call them zombies anymore, you gotta call them some weird thing like freakers. And there are some really gnarly looking zombies in this game, especially like there's literally a zombie bear in this game, and it's as freaking horrifying as you can imagine. It's even with a maxed out Deacon St. John, I will actually try to avoid those when I can. One thing that was really neat about this game were the bike mechanics, or the motorcycle mechanics. Essentially, you get to customize your own motorcycle, and you can make it look quite different. You want something that looks like a dresser? You can. You want something that looks like a bobber? That's a bike with almost everything knocked off. You can. And there's all these different types of gas tanks and mufflers, fenders you can put on wheels, and it's a lot of fun custom making your own motorcycle. Now, there's a couple of weird ones, like they have a Death Stranding crossover where you can have like the BB tank as your gas tank. It's kind of weird, but you can do it if you want to. And like you can put all these different kind of covers on it, and a lot of these are practical, so you can increase the defense of your bike or the range of your bike. Honestly, the only thing I didn't like about the motorcycle mechanics was the gas tank. Even on a full maxed out gas tank, the furthest you can go is about 3 miles, I would say. Granted, it's supposed to give the illusion of a much wider area, but the gas tanks, they didn't quite get the gas levels right. On some of the smaller gas tanks, you can maybe go a mile before you run out of gas. It's kind of that bad. And so obviously you want to upgrade your gas tank as fast as humanly possible, but outside of that, no, I did enjoy the bike mechanics. It was like its own unique character in this game. And so there was Deacon St. John and his bike. Now, could I have used a couple more customization options? Absolutely, especially with the headlight and the handlebars, but no, for the most part, it was a lot of fun making my dream motorcycle and then swapping out the paint. There's all these different paint options you can do on the bike. It's really neat. And something that a lot of people criticized about this game was the length. A lot of people said it was too long. It was way too long, way too long. And yes, this is a long game, but honestly, I really enjoyed its length because I didn't see it as a movie. I saw it as like a multi-season television series that I was able to play as, because there were numerous parts to this game, and kind of at the end of these parts, it kind of feels like the end of the game, which I thought, oh wow, they like set up for a sequel, and then the game continues on. It's like, oh, okay, there's more. And then when I thought the game was going to end again, it's like, oh, there was even more. And so I did kind of like the length of the game because it felt like I was playing like 2 to 3 stories where I would have only been playing as one, typically in a regular game. Now, the story isn't perfect. There's a couple of very obvious surprises coming from miles away. There's a surprise with someone close to Deacon St. John that's like, yeah, we all saw this coming from yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. And then there's like, in terms of like one of the villains, because you're going to have numerous villains in this game. There was this one villain introduced closer to the end that had a lot in relation with Deacon St. John, especially his past. Both were military men. Both, had certain upbringings similar to each other. And yet this one character, like from the beginning, is just depicted as ultimate evil, no redemption whatsoever. And they completely missed an opportunity of having it where this one character could have created this huge divide with the main character, Deacon St. John, where it's like, look, I need to stop this guy, but I mean, like, I feel like I can reach him because we have so many things that we had in common. And they don't bother trying to create a villain like this. They just straight up absolute evil, no chance of redemption, try and put a bullet in his head as fast as humanly possible. And so, like, I kind of felt like the writing really suffered there because they had a great chance of having, like, a character study with this villain and Deacon St. John. And it was unfortunate that they couldn't pull that off. And then another thing that is very, very edge of your seat nerve-wracking are the Horde encounters. Now, these things were kind of like the big selling point to the game. And a lot of people didn't like the game because at the point they gave up on the game, they only encountered like one or two. And in reality, you start seeing most of the Hordes at the end of the game when like they just all pop up on your map. It's like, okay, you have 69 Hordes you gotta deal with. Good luck. And then it's like, okay, the rest of the game, you just have to try and do that. And I didn't even clear out all the Hordes myself, but like quite a few of them, it's like, if there's a couple of key tools you don't have, don't even try bothering with them because they're just going to swarm you. And these lead to some very tense moments in the game that still kept my attention as I was making my way to surprisingly 100%ing the trophies in this game. I didn't realize it, but as I was getting new footage for this review, I realized I have like 4 trophies I have to get left. And I looked at them, it's like, these aren't that hard to get. And so I just buckled down and I worked at it and I got platinum out of this game. And so there was a lot of fun to be had with this game. Is it perfect? No. There's a couple of issues. I felt some of the characters were obnoxious. There's a couple of really cliche villain characters. Like, honestly, if they could just revamped all the villain characters in this game, it would have been so much better. There's one character that starts off as not a villain, and it's like so obvious that he's going to become a villain that it's like, seriously, guys, you can write better than this. It's just way too obvious that this guy's going to screw over everyone. And then when he does, it's supposed to be this big, shocking, like, oh no, how could he? It's like, I could have told you that if I was in that group, that he was going to fuck everyone over. And so just, it felt like one person was writing the overall narrative and then another person was writing all the villains. And it's like, your villains really lacked in this game. And so overall, I would say that this was a fun PlayStation exclusive. If you're getting a PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5, this is definitely something you should pick up. I thought it was a fun experience, and I did like a lot of the non-villain characters, especially Deacon St. John. I thought he had a good story arc, especially like his motivations, and I did like that simplicity of kind of the goals that Sony introduced, like kind of with God of War. God of War 2018 has a very simple plot goal. Just deliver this thing here. And it stays like that and manages to still remain a very captivating story regardless. One of these days I'll get around reviewing the God of War series. Not today though. So, with that being said, I would probably rate Days Gone this. It's a fun open world zombie experience. It may not be the best one, but if you have any interest in motorcycles and fighting a horde of over 500 zombies, then yeah, this game is definitely going to be for you. And before you go, don't forget to, do the thing. The thing. My name's Christopher Kyle with 11 Hour Reviews, and that will be all.